1 week after moving to this hidden paradise in Brazil, everything was going wrong. For the last 4 hours, I've been staring at a black screen. But that's what happens when you try and build a startup from one of Brazil's most remote beach towns. And just when I thought this whole thing was a mistake, something happened that changed everything. Last week, I left everything behind in the UK to build a startup somewhere I could actually afford to live. One viral tweet and 750,000 views later, now I'm in Pipa, one of Brazil's most remote beach towns. And in this video, I'm taking you with me as I partner with one of X's biggest creators, explore some of Brazil's secret spots, and try and build a $10,000 a month startup from paradise. 2 weeks ago, I moved into this Brazilian paradise that 2 months ago, I'd never even heard of before. So, where am I? I'm in a little beach village in the northeast coast of Brazil called Pipa. It's a place that's popular with tourists across South America. There are tons of Uruguayans, Argentinians, Colombians here. But outside of that, no one's heard of it. Literally, besides my roommate and I, we are the only Brits here. Except, I'm not just here to lounge around on beaches all day. Remember that tweet that I made that went viral? Well, it led to something huge. I just partnered up with a huge creator on X called Thibaut to build a brand new product called Super X, which is designed to help you go faster on X. Now, this isn't an ad. This is the product that I'm going to be working on, and this is the product that I'm going to be documenting the journey of scaling to over $10,000 a month on. This is literally the reason I left the UK and the reason that I'm here in Brazil. And I'm super excited about this product for one main reason, because the only reason I can afford to be here in Brazil is thanks to X, and thanks to the bet that I made on myself to start posting on X. In fact, the only reason that I made the money that I made was because I built my last business posting and sharing the whole journey on X. And now with Super X, I get to share the power of X with everyone else. But the thing is, working remote from Brazil isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Thibaut lives 4 hours ahead of me in France, so coordinating time zones is tricky. The Wi-Fi is great here, but it's not always working. Like right now, today, it's been down the whole day. And working for myself, I've got to be entirely self-motivated, which is easier said than done, especially when you live somewhere like this. And just when things were getting started, I have no energy right now. I've literally had a virus, this same virus, for over a week now, since Rio, and I don't know when I'm going to get this video out. Pretty much the whole week that I was in Rio and the first week that I was here in Pipa, I was sick. I had some kind of virus. I'm feeling better now, but it took over my life for like 2 weeks. Now, I'm not the kind to get sick, especially not for 2 weeks straight. So it was bizarre until I had a thought, which was, maybe it's the water I'm drinking. Because we have this machine here in the house, which is like a filtered water machine. And you press a button and the water comes out of the tap system and it filters it. But the thing is, I thought, okay, filters are great and all. Oh, 1 second, have a look at this. This is the kind of stuff that happens in Pipa, completely unscripted. These guys are massive. I don't know what it is, but it's huge. Anyway, it filters out some stuff, but probably not everything. So I cut it out, I switched entirely to bottled water, and since then I've been feeling great, like back to normal. So this kind of brings me on to another point, which is because this vlogging thing, this YouTube thing, is brand new to me, I've been getting into the hang of things, trying to figure out what works best. And one problem I had with the first video and even trying to plan this video was I started to get into the really bad habit of planning my life around the vlogs rather than planning the vlogs around my life. Now, the reason this became so bad is because I wanted my videos to be authentic. I wanted them to be real. I wanted them to show everything that I was doing. But when I started to feel like I had to plan my life around my vlogs, everything just went through the floor. I recorded loads of stuff that I didn't post. I recorded loads of stuff that I didn't edit because it just didn't feel like me. And so this is just one of the things that I've learned along the way. And speaking of which, today we have planned to go to Coca-Cola Lagoon, which is a lagoon just nearby where the water's supposed to look dark brown like Coca-Cola because of the chemicals in the roots of the trees and the leaves of the trees surrounding it. Now it's really, really remote, so hopefully we don't get lost on the way there. So we absolutely got lost on the way. This place was way more remote than any of us expected. If you want to get to it, you've got to park 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers away, and then either hike through this jungle or pay for a local to drive you there on the buggy. But these guys were not budging on the price. Now experiencing this kind of crazy, extreme, absurd stuff that you wouldn't possibly think even existed before is the reason I travel. And I'm so, so grateful that I get to do it. And while we were there on that day, I had a moment just to think. And what I was thinking about was all of us want to feel like we're making progress in life. And for me, traveling and experiencing things like this is the most extreme form of that because you're truly, truly living. You're experiencing new things all the time. But at the same time, if you're just doing that, you can't get any work done. I need a routine and like a sense of monotony in a way to be productive, to focus on one task like my business or the videos that I'm making. But over time, that in and of itself drags you down and time seems to fly, which is kind of the problem that the UK has at the moment in the way that everything just feels like it's a blur. It's the kind of environment where you get burnt out, where there's no creativity, no drive, no excitement. Where are we at, bro? Coca-Cola Lagoon. Coca-Cola. And so that's why I do what I do. 2 months in one place, then I moved to another place to re-spark things. Before Brazil, funnily enough, I was in Morocco for 2 months. Before that, I was in Gibraltar for 2 months. And the only problem with moving like this is the lack of consistency with social connections. Like I don't have the same friends, I don't have the same bonds with people for more than 2 months, unless in the very, very, very rare case, someone travels with you from one place to another. So as part of this trial period to figure out if Thibaut and I work well together and if we're a good fit for working on SuperX, I've been tasked with a challenge for building a new feature that generates tweets tailored to you using AI. Now I've used AI before, I've coded for years, but the code base for SuperX, because it already exists, is huge. So it's taken me a few days to get into the hang of things, and this brings me onto a really good point about persistence. For the last 4 hours, I've been staring at a black screen. Something a little like this. And the problem with this is I have no idea what's going on. I've been looking into the code, I've been looking at everything, trying to figure out what exactly is going wrong. But there's no indication. That wasn't until I looked deeper into the files and I asked AI for some help. And after 4 hours straight and almost a week's worth of work, let me show you what we got. Finally, we have a feature that is officially deployed on the SuperX domain to generate tweets. So you can see my tweets here. You can manage the context, you can change and customize the tweets, but finally it worked. So if you're struggling with something, if you're finding something difficult, stick with it, because odds are you're probably closer than you think you are. It's a little bit like this meme or this GIF, if you've seen it before. The guy or girl who sticks with it the longest is probably going to be the one to get the diamonds. So take that as you will. Now I'm going to take a little bit of what I think is a pretty well-deserved break. With the feature finally out, I had a moment to celebrate. So I went with my roommate James and we went to a place called Abacate, which is on the north side of Pipa, to go and experience something that only happens every year on the 2nd of February. It's a celebration called Yemanja, and it's a celebration for the Afro-Brazilian goddess of the sea. And what they do is they take flowers as offerings out far into the ocean and they dump them as gifts to the goddess. It was so beautiful to experience in person. And then after we finished there, the next day, there was a boat party, which is something that happens occasionally in Pipa. And I went with a whole community group of nomads. And it was the first time in a while that I just let go of everything, which was so needed. The thing is about having a community like this in a place as remote as Pipa is it makes you feel like you're not alone. Like you actually have a community of people who are doing similar stuff to you. I mean, everyone who was there was either a nomad or they're working remote and they're doing things that are actually interesting. And I love this because even though when you're moving so frequently, you struggle to keep any sort of connections and bonds, at the same time, I get the opportunity when I'm traveling like this to meet so many different people. And in the case of my roommate, James, we actually met over 2 years ago in Gran Canaria. And even though we're both from the UK, we've never met up in the UK. It's these kinds of connections that you make when you're traveling and when you're nomading that you wouldn't get if you were stuck at home.